process of going live. Okay, now it says
Yeah.
I'm live. All right. Well, I'm keeping you on because I've got some information I need to share, and
Okay.
it's a good time to do it while everyone's kind of getting their act together. But Stampin' Up has changed their system. Oh gosh, let me put more light on. Has changed their system where it used to be you had to make $150 worth of purchases before you started getting the rewards or got the rewards. And they've now changed it. Just this month, it's been a switch over where after you make like $20 of purchase, then let me read this directly. For every online order over $20, you earn 10% of your entire order in Stampin' Rewards. Now, what's different now is that when you earn the rewards, the way I understand it is you can't apply the rewards on that particular order. What happens is that you save them, and then the next order you can apply the rewards you've already earned. With your online account, it will accrue the rewards you've earned, and then you're able to apply them. Uh, I'm still learning as I go, so I have a little sheet of questions and answers.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fine. Yeah, companies change. Now I looked and I didn't see anything, but under subscriptions, behind your name there is Anita Dean.
right.
They're now popped up like two brackets in red with a dot in the middle, and I'm not sure whether that's what it is. So I'm gonna go there for a second.
I think we need your granddaughter, don't we?
Still your gold. That is still your gold card. For the Christmas card.
Oh, okay. Well, you see, they give you a selection. They have videos, but they also have lives. If you look at you want to click
to live.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yes. There it is. Okay. Well, let me see your class. Is it the Wildflower birthday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll click on that. And I'll click on the live link, right? I think. I'm still learning. Now I can hear you, Anita. You can. All right.
You can see the pretty card?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So I'll turn you off.
All right. Let's see. All right. Let's see now. Okay. Just going down a little more on the rewards. Anyone with a Stampin' Up! Online account can participate. And then the rewards will be displayed after you sign up. You'll see rewards displayed on your local currency on the Stampin' Rewards dashboard. So, this is all new to me, so I'm kind of. And then now you can for rewards that you can redeem. You can redeem any amount of rewards in one transaction as long as they are available for redemption. So that means, you earn the rewards with your first order, and then with your next order, those rewards are available for you to apply. And then it does say your rewards will expire 12 months after your purchase date at the end of that month. But I think that you'd be able to use them up in that time. And it's a rolling thing. It's not like just from your first one. It's like, okay, if you placed an order in May, and then a year ago in May, the rewards for that May purchase would begin to expire. So that's kind of how it goes. Anyway, the full information is online. You can get it there. I just wanted to kind of give a heads up. So welcome, Evelyn. And let's see. Well, it says we have another person here. I'm hoping that's Rhonda. So I'm not sure how that all counts, but I don't want to waste too much time on too many details. As I explained earlier when talking with you, this particular Wildflower birthday um, paper is got 2 sheets of these beautiful die cuts in them that make making cards so much easier. And the colors are just really delightful. And I thought it'd be fun to work with it. They have the gold elements in it as well. So it just extra pop. Now, as you can see on this particular card, the first card we're going to do, I've added some a little bit of glue and then some glitter, in which I included in your kits to kind of embellish the flowers that much more. Now, what I did in this case is I kind of added little lines, so I wasn't just a blanket with glitter. Like here, I just put the center of the flower. So it's up to you. If you have a fine tipped glue pen, that's a good thing to have. I'm actually using this today, which I purchased for another reason. And if I have it, I might as well use it, right? So anyway, if you can figure out how to do the comments or chat, that would be fun for me to see what's happening. And then we'll get started on the first card. I'm going to try to keep it in screen so you can kind of look at it as we go. Now, what we have in our kit is the card base, which we're going to fold on the score line. And then one of the things I do all the time, this one's pretty even, but I look to see if the edges are slightly uneven. And if one is, I'll put the larger one to be the front of the card. That's just, routine. Now, I also gave you a sheet of instructions. This card's pretty straightforward, so you shouldn't have much trouble with that. But I'm just kind of walking you through the steps, and I am following the steps myself so that I don't lead you astray with what I'm trying to do. So let's see. Now we have this piece that's going to be for the inside of the card. Okay. And then we have the big die cut, which is what's going to be fitting over this. And let's see. Yeah, let's go with a popping up of the panel. So what I did was I just simply put dimensionals on the back side of the scallop die cut. And some people put a lot of dimensionals on. I tend to be not quite so much, mostly just to give it the support it needs without overdoing it. I'm going to put maybe a couple in the center. The dimensionals just add additional interest to your cards. And let's see. I'm just removing the backing. I cut my nails so that I'm having to work a little harder than I usually do. Okay. All right. So, and then we're just going to take this and place it. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to me. Maybe I should stand up. Let's see. I'm going to score that. Okay. I'm going to stand up so I can see better. All right. Kind of center it on your card. There we go. That's in place. Now the next trick or piece of action is we are going to glitter up the losing my pieces here. Glitter up the okay. I'm hiding. Yep, I'm good at hiding things. There's my glitter. Glitter up the Let's see. I want to make sure you can see well enough too. I think we're good. Okay. I'm going to glitter up the die cut, and I'm just taking the glitter pen, and I want to make sure, just because I'm me, the glue's working. So I'm doing a little bit on a sample. There it goes. Okay. And then I'm just going to add a bit of glue here and there. Okay. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to add the glue, and then I'm going to come in with the glitter to get the sparkle on. Okay, if you want, you can add, maybe a little bit on the leaves. That's up to you. It's your card, your game. All right, and then now I'm ready for the glitter. Now the thing with the glitter, it's kind of a translucent, iridescent glitter, and I just kind of sprinkle it all over the top. We're going to be using more of this in a later card, and we're going to use some on our inside piece too. But I'm just taking and tapping the excess off. All right, I'm going to set that over for a moment to dry, and then I'm going to do a little scoop the glitter back in the container. So we're ready to go for the next piece, which is going to be this little embellishment here. We have a couple more pieces. And on this one, I'm just going to move that off to the side so it doesn't get glue on it. I'm just going to add a touch of glitter here and there. And this one I just kind of swirled around, following the lines of the flower a bit. It just kind of carries it forward into the inside of the card. Oop. All right. And then pull these closer so they can do it better. Sprinkle that glitter on. Now, as a kid, I've always loved glitter. And I've heard a lot of people talk disparaging things about glitter. And everyone's entitled to their feelings. But I've always loved sparkle. And so when I have a chance to use glitter, I'm happy to do it. Okay, that's there. And I want to move these over. I guess I'll move them over on here. Then I can move them around. Come on. Oop. There. Ah, that wasn't supposed to happen. All right. And then, again, now, I know it didn't look like much glitter in the container, but look at how much glitter we still have. It's just amazing how far this stuff can go. I'll move that off to the side again. Now, let's see. All right. So, we now have our pieces glittered. And then we want to do our inside sentiment, which is where I cheat and I use my Stamparatus. You don't have to use this. It's just that I've got it set up, and I've already made sure that it stamps straight, and then I'll just use the magnets to secure it in place. The color I'm using for this particular one, I'm echoing the pink, which is in the cardstock and in the flowers. If you wish, you could choose, even the peachy color or the blue color. It's up to you. We'll be using the blue color a little later. I've always loved color, so every chance I have to employ it, I will. And then I just put the Stamparatus in, stamp the birthday, look and see if I'm happy with it, and I am. I can remove that. Now, I have a tendency to clean as I go because it saves us from accidents, which are easy to happen. And then I'm going to take, and I'm just going to twist this around because I'm going to get ready for my next one and put this aside. Now, for the front piece, here we go again. For the front piece, I did not elevate it. I've already elevated it with the scalloped die cut. But you're going to want to glue this on. And what you need to be sure of when you glue it on is you only want glue to be not on the outer edges because then you'll have excess glue, but you want to make sure that this fits within the parameters of the card so you don't have trouble getting it in the envelope. And you don't want glue on the tips of these that are hanging over. So now you have different ways you can do that. I'm usually just cautious, and I will take, here, let's do this. Yeah, this one's got the glue. I will take and apply it more towards the center and avoid the very edges. All right, everything wants to fall over. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to simply take it around. I'm going to figure out my placement. Make sure I'm within the parameters of the card and put it on. All right, now we're ready to work on the inside piece, and that's where these come in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay it out like I think I want it. And I can't say that you all got the same flowers. I used what flowers are available, and so yours might be an individual all to yourself. Okay, so I've got the layout on here, and I'm going to take with my glue, I'll leave it open because I'm working, and I'm going to add, I'm leaving this flower in place, and I'm using it as a guide. I put a little glue on the back there. I'm using it as a guide to where I'm going to place the leaf. Okay. Maybe down a little more. Okay, and then we'll do the same with the other side. Okay, now we're ready to put the flower in. Again, it's not a really difficult card. The paper does so much of the work for you. And there you go. That's your inside. And so once that's in place, we're going to turn it around and add glue to put the card in the inside. Now, I love beautiful cards. And sometimes I get really intricate with my cards. But, they don't have to all be intricate. the colors and the beauty of the paper do so much of the work for you. And there we are. Now we have one more thing to do. I went ahead and I made these bows. And what we're going to do is we're going to add the bow down here. And I'm going to use a glue dot. All right. I'm going to put the glue dot right there. Now, with the ribbon, if it bothers you, you could trim that off, but it's flexible, so you can still get it in the card. But your first card's done. Woohoo! How about that? Pretty, pretty. I was going to try and get some of this ribbon, but it was already out of stock and I couldn't get it. So I fell back on another color that kind of X's the peach color in the flowers. Anyway, that's your first card. And how long have we been on? I'm looking for 20 minutes, within 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes. How about that? Okay. Next. I'm going to put that aside. Okay, let's see if that can go here. All right. This is our next card. And let's see. Get my kit out. Okay. There we go. This is the Make-A-Wish card. This one is a little bit, I used gold embossing powder, and that's what I'm going to be showing on this. But if you don't happen to have the stuff to do the heat embossing in gold, you can just stamp it. It's not necessary. It's just that I was trying to echo the gold that was in the card. Again, the card base, I fold it and determine if there's one side that overlaps a little bit, and it's be this one. Okay, and then in here we have the one panel, which this has got a very narrow border on it, and I'm going to go ahead and put that one on with the glue. Part of the reason for doing this ahead of time while we're working on the other part is it gives it a chance to dry in place so that later when you're putting on the other card, you don't push it out of alignment. And then this one is very tight. It's got like a 1/16 of an inch border on it. And the glue allows me to adjust it a little bit so I get it where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that can dry. And we're going to start working on this. Now, in your kit, I know I seem like I'm going fast, but I didn't want to take up more time unnecessarily. I'm trying to make it so that my videos aren't super long. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm taking the pieces that are going to represent candles and I'm kind of laying them out. And what I did for some of this, like this particular paper here was actually white and with the gold hearts. And I used the, gosh, I can't think of the word, the little brushes, the blending brushes to color it in the color pink I wanted. So I'm just kind of laying things out here for the moment to get an idea of where things are going to be and get a pleasing arrangement. In this case, I took the paper. I wanted some gold on it because I'm trying to echoing that gold theme. And yeah, here we go. Let's go this way. How about that? Yep. All right. Now, what you can see here is I am purposely leaving some space here for the sentiment. All right. Now, of course, the candle flames are going to go on top. And we have, 6 flames for 6 candles. I'm not going to worry about placing them all at this moment because I'm just doing this to get a general idea of where my space is going to be for the sentiment. And then here is a trick I've kind of picked up from some of the other demonstrators, is they'll take Post-it notes and kind of line it up so you know where not to stamp. And this one I'm gonna do a little box here because I believe the flames will come up a little bit there. So that's kind of my guide. And I'm moving this out of the way again. All right, so that kind of gives me the guide. Now I'm going to use, for the heat embossing, I'm going to use Versamark. And I'm going to do this off first to slide 2. All right, I'm going to use Versamark, which is a sticky ink. It's basically clear, but if you stamp it on cardstock, especially darker ones, you'll see the stamp. It comes up a little darker, like a watermark. What I'm doing here, this is the embossing buddy, and sometimes you forget about this little detail, but what this does, it's a powder, and it would counteract if I had oily fingers and left anything on the cardstock that might attract the embossing powder. That counteracts it, so it'll be straight. And then the Versamark, I have the stamp already prepared. Make a wish. Okay, and I just ink it up really well. And then I'm going to get my little pad out, because when you're working with the clear stamps like this, they don't have the padding like the rubber stamps do. I'm going to stand up too so I have better aim. Okay. Give it a firm. Don't rock it necessarily, just kind of rub it. Make sure it gets good contact. Okay, we're going to remove that. And now we're going to do the embossing powder. Now what I do with my embossing powders, they have a set that you can buy and Stampin' Up! That comes with the embossing buddy and tweezers and yeah. I'm trying to remember all the other stuff, but I think also like a brush or something. But what I do is I just use a little container and I sprinkle the powder over, if you can see there. And then I just dump it straight back into the container. I look to see if I have good enough contact. If I don't think I have enough, I make sure I give it a good coverage. All right, so now we have the powder, embossing powder on there, but it is not permanent. If I needed to, I could brush it right off. So you have to be careful at this stage not to disturb it. I'm going to move that over for a minute. And I'm going to take, and this was my special preparation for today. I usually go into another location, and I hope I don't blow my little candle flames away. But I'm using my heat gun, and I hope it's not too loud for you to hear what I'm saying. But I let it heat up a bit, and then I'm going to rotate it over. There you can start to see it changing. Can you see the change? So cool. I love that. I love how that changes. Anyway, that's my favorite thing about heat embossing is the magical change. And there we are. I'm going to move this away. I can put that together a little later, save time. All right. Now, with one more thing I want to mention about embossing powder. There are several different options you can have. When I stamped with the Versamark ink, if you wanted to use clear embossing powder and have a color, like if I wanted to make this pink, I could have stamped it in the Versamark like I did. Yeah, here was the stamp. I could have stamped it in the Versamark like I did, and then taken a pink ink pad and stamped it on that to pick up the color, and then made the stamp and used clear embossing powder. And then when it embossed, you'd have the raised surface like we have here, but it would be clear and you would see the pink color underneath. So one of the things I learned about embossing powders is you don't need to buy every color under the sun. Using that technique, you use what color stamp pads you have, and you've got what colors you need. I have clear, I have black, I have silver and gold, and I think I have copper, and white, and it works perfectly fine for everything I need to do. So I just wanted to point that one out to you. Now, we have the card ready to add our candles. And now, again, I'm going to lay them out again to help with the spacing. And what I did, let's see, that one wasn't there. That one was here. Okay. Oh, by the way, I made a mistake. I don't think it was too noticeable, but when I did this card, I had my hearts upside down. So make sure your hearts are going the right direction. Don't make my mistake. All right, so we have this and this. Let's see, kind of laying them out, getting a feel for it. All right, and I want them kind of even at the bottom. All right, and then we have these. And for that, I did this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, now my fingers tend to be a little sticky, so you're going to need to kind of guide where you're placing things as you go. But I'm just kind of getting the general idea of the spacing as we go, so they're not all too crowded in one spot. Okay, that looks good. All right, one at a time. One at a time. And you don't need a super amount of glue. Also, I'm using liquid glue, but you don't have to use liquid glue if you like tape runner better. That's perfectly fine. I like liquid glue because it gives me some opportunity to move it around a little bit if I need to. Okay. And that's basically most of it for this card, is just getting things set up and arranged. Now, I did not worry about the inside on this one. You are free to do it however you want. That's the fun part of this, right? I gave you the basics, but you make it yours with what you do. All right. I'm just kind of watching this so that, well, it works when they don't stick to your fingers. So I get them placed the way I want them, and that they're basically even on the bottom. All right. There's only one of the candles that I think you have to worry about the design being directional. That makes it easier, right? And the other thing I wanted to point out with this card was when I was making the strips for the effect I wanted, in this case, I colored the whole thing in the pink I wanted. It was white before. In this one, I just added some swirls of color because of the swirly design to deepen it up a little. In this one, I took the paper and I added speckles of this Tombow glue. Now, what this does when it dries is it remains sticky. And then I had a supply of, I used the gold leafing that Stampin' Up! Was selling. I think it's retired now. But I used that to put over the speckles of glue, and that left the gold behind. And I thought it was a neat trick, and I thought I'd share it with you. And now we're doing our candles, and I'm looking for my little tool. Okay, fun. It's hiding. I have tweezers somewhere. All right, this is what's called having too much stuff in your, there they are. Having too much stuff in your little cup. All right, so I have candle flames, and some of them are larger, some of them are smaller. And I'm thinking with the tall one, I want to stick with a smaller candle or flame and just add a dab of glue. You don't want it too thick. You don't want it oozing out. All right. And that's all we're doing. Now, let me know, am I going too fast for you? Because I don't want to leave you behind. I'm just trying to show you the process. I find that the little tweezers, these are reverse tweezers, which means it holds it for you while you're relaxing your hand. And once you want to have it let go, then you squeeze it. But I find that there are times when you're doing detailed work that your fingers just kind of get in the way. Okay, that's there. All right. Down to my last one. Ugh. Okay. Now, we have our front piece ready to put on our now securely dried card front. Now, I think it was a lot more work getting the strips prepared and cut for you than it was to put the card together. I hope you enjoy that. Each time I do these classes, I'm getting a little more comfortable with the process. And I hope that each time, like for instance, I was paying attention more to the amount of time it took. Let's see, where are we? Oh, hey, another 20 minutes. Cool. We have our second card. You can decorate the inside however you wish. If you want to make another candle or have some stamps that would go along with it, go for it. Okay, so that was card number 2. And I'm going to put my pieces away because if I don't, it gets very crowded with all the parts and pieces. Now, okay. I've got so many people I need to send birthday cards to. This is fun. Okay. Getting 2 things done with one effort, right? Okay, let's see. Next kit. This one's a little tricky. You're going to have to think a little on that one. Okay, this is the card we're doing. And you can see I've used the glitter again on the die cut. And it says happy birthday. And then you open it up, it says make a wish. But I have another die cut here, but it's popped up. And the reason why it's popped up is because this card is meant to be propped up and put on display. So I'm trying. Okay, you're going to need your paper trimmer or your scoring board available for this particular card. And while we're getting set up, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the die cut and add the glitter. Thanks, Evelyn. I appreciate the feedback. Oh, goodness. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add the glitter to this so it can be drying while we work on the rest of the card. And I'm going to put this up here so you can at least see what we're shooting for. And I'm going back with this and that glue pen, which is nice and blue and stands out so I can find it. Wasn't that nice of it? I'm just adding pieces of glue here and there to accentuate. Okay, now this one. And this one. This has got curly hue flowers. Lots of little curly hues on it. And then I'm putting a strip of glue on the veins of the leaves. I just didn't want them to be left out is all. All right. I think I got it. Maybe a little there. Okay. Okay, and then the glitter, which I just had a second ago. That's what. All right. And sprinkle it over. Pixie dust. I always loved glitter. In fact, when I worked at Michael's during Christmas time, a lot of the flowers, the silk flowers, had glitter. And I would come home at night after working, and my face would have glitter all over me. And while it may have bothered some people, It didn't bother me at all. I sparkled. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the directions because it's important that we are careful and follow it. All right. We've got our floral piece over here drying, all nice and glittery. Okay. And then for the card base, I'm going to move this out of the way because I don't want to get injured as we progress. Okay, for the card base, you can go ahead and fold it and determine, again, if there's an overlap. A little bit here. Okay, now you're going to fold on the score, and then you're going, okay, we already adjusted for the longer side to the front, and then you're going to score the front of the card diagonally from the top right corner down to the bottom left corner where it meets the score line. This is important to remember which direction to go because you have to be able to fold it. If you were to score it the other way, then the card would want to fold that way and it wouldn't work. Okay, so that's important. Now I have my paper trimmer, and I'm going to take the cutting blade and move it down out of the way. And then I'm going to take this. I'm going to line this up in the track with the point on the track and the bottom corner right here. Top right, bottom left. And you want those lined up on the track. Okay. And then you're going to score it. All right. And then you're going to be able to fold it on the score line. Okay. Now, because, well, let's keep following the directions, okay? Now we have two triangular sections, and in the kit, we have two triangular pieces to fit on those sections. Now, I wanted to point out that when I made these pieces, note, they're both from the same paper, but I had to cut two of the pieces of paper in order to make the two triangular pieces because one is cut from the upper left down so it will fit. Well, let's see, I've got these twisted around. I don't want that one. I want this one. So it'll fit here. I had to basically have two pieces. I have it listed here. Yeah. 4 by 5 1/4 pieces. And I had to cut two separate ones. One from the top left corner down and the other from the top right corner down in order to get the two different sides to coordinate. So what we're going to do now is we are going to simply glue these two pieces in place. This works well if you are making several cards, but I wanted to emphasize that so that if you wanted to make an additional card, because this is a fun card, if you wanted to make an additional card like this, I wanted to point out that that is a little danger that caught me. And just so you're aware, it works, but you got to remember how. So you got to pay attention. So I put glue on the one side and I'm lining it up. Okay, again, the liquid glue comes to my rescue because I can kind of line things up and move them around where they need to be. Okay, and then the next one. Excuse me. Now, don't be shy in letting me know if you have any questions. I'll try to remember to check. All right. So now we have our two triangular pieces in place. Okay, now we're going to stamp the inside panel. Didn't I do that? Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, okay. So here's my inside panel. In your kit, you have a strip that'll be going on for the front of the card. And then we have the inside panel. And we have this lovely clear stamp. And I'm going to be brave. And I need my little foam pad again. And I'm going to stand up again so I can see better. Okay. Make sure that you can see me too. All right. And I'm just kind of... I got to get better lighting set up, but I think we got it there. There we go. Make a wish. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, glue this inside. Move this out of the way. Close the stamp pad ink. Okay. Put this in here. Line it up. All right. Now, for this little floral piece, I'm going to add a couple dimensionals. The purpose of that is to elevate it because it's going to become our little doorstop, if you will. So that when we open the card has a place to rest against. So that's going to determine where we're going to place this. So here we go. There we go. See, now we have this little door stopper. All right, back to the front. To the front, we have this Spotlight Our Nature circle with its decorative edge, which I love. And then we have our die cut that we added the glitter to. And you can figure out which way you want it to go. I just kind of centered it on the circle. And then what's going to happen is I'll figure out my final placement when I get to the card because I want it to fit within the bounds of the card. So first we're going to get glued down. Again, I'm not going to focus on the outer edges. I'm mostly going to work in the inner circle. you know, because I don't want to have excess glue floating out there. Okay. Again, just kind of center it. There you go. And while we're letting that dry for a moment, we are going to do the happy birthday. Now, the happy birthday, the ink that I used, now, again, you need to do your own stamping, and I don't know what sets you have to work with. You might want to choose a different sentiment completely. But when I have the die cuts, you can always tell the front from the back because the back will be a little rougher because it's cutting down. And then I'm using the Blueberry Bushel ink like I used on the inside. And I'm inking it up. And I have this placed on my mat. I'm going to stand up so I have a better... Ha! That was upside down. That wouldn't have been too good. Okay. All right. There we go. Happy birthday. All right. Now, this particular die cut came from the Beautiful Butterfly set. And I just liked the way that it fit without taking up too much space because honestly, I didn't really want to cover up the beautiful flowers. So that was my reason for selecting that particular die. Move stuff out of the way. Now, next we are going here and we're going to see how this is going to go on. We want it to fit within the parameters of the card. Now, here again, you only want to glue it on this bottom half. So you can use the little post-it note idea again to remind you where you don't want to go beyond. I'm just kind of putting it here. And here. Okay, that kind of tells me, okay, I don't want to go beyond that line when I add my glue. Now, you know, most people don't really need to do that much, except if you are prone to distraction, somebody comes in or a phone rings or something like that, it's easy to forget what you were doing when you go back to try and finish. Now, I'm using, let me get this up here. I'm using those post-it notes to kind of guide me where I intended to place it too. Okay. Let's see. I see it's a little bit over, so I want to move it up a little bit. Just a smidge. There. Okay. Now we have it placed, and we have the doorstop in place. All we need to do is add our greeting. And on this one, I did pop it up on dimensionals. Okay. All right, so I'm going to place this kind of in the center. I have it there. I don't press down until I'm sure where I have it. That's about right. Okay. So there we are. And the third, but little trickier card is done. Happy birthday, make a wish. and prop it up to share the joy. Okay. How are we doing? As I get my stuff resituated. Another card. Somebody's going to be very happy to get these cards. That's all I can say. All right. Next one. Move this out of the way. No, I don't move it out. Thank you. All right. This is our last card. Okay, how are we doing time-wise? Okay, we're at the hour mark. So we got 3 cards done in an hour. About 20 minutes per card. How cool is that? Okay. This is the card we're creating. This is the inside panel. This is going to be the front panel. And this is our card space. Again, I'm folding it and checking to see which side might be a little bit larger. Now, in this case, I did a couple of things. One is I didn't cut these for you, so you get to do your cutting. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking and cutting them from the top left-hand corner down to the right-hand bottom corner. And then I'm going to be layering them on the card front. Then I have the gold die cut oval, and I have the white oval that we're going to stamp on. Now, you may notice you have 2 white ovals in your envelope. That's because, just in case, it's extra if you make it the first try, but if you have a problem with it, you have a second chance. Anyway, that's why you got 2. Because ovals sometimes are a little hard to line up. Personally, when I'm stamping something that I'm going to die cut, I generally stamp it first and then die cut, because I can arrange the die the way I want it. And so I know I die cut it right. When you do the die cutting first and then stamp it, in my case, you're taking a risk. But that's why I do the things the way I do it. All right. So first we're going to take and we're going to add the embossed piece to the front of the card. Now, in some respects, doing these classes is a lot faster online, because it would take us a while to get it all done in the classroom. But part of the reason for that was I'm doing a lot of the work that I would have you do in the classroom, because I wanted you to experience the die cutting, and I wanted you to learn about heat embossing and trying these techniques. But that's okay. I enjoy this. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. Okay. And then here we have, I've added the embossed panel. I'm putting it over there to dry. I'm bringing back my paper trimmer. Remember, I said top left corner to bottom right. So you're lining those up in your trimmer, and it becomes more important if you have directional paper like we have with the cake paper. Okay, that's one. This one, not so directional, but top left, bottom right. line those points up. Now, another hint I want to give you is that sometimes when you're trying to cut into a point, it could be awkward, especially with something that's resistant like vellum. And so you bring your cutter into the middle of it, and then you cut out, and then it doesn't wrinkle up the edge or give you a hard cut there. Okay, so you have your 4 triangles now. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way now. And let's put this over here too. All right, and then we're going to try this, do the hooray stamping. And here we are. Now for this one, I was matching the color of the card base, which is Coastal Cabana. So I used my Coastal Cabana for the ink. I'm going to stand up again. Okay, so I can see better. Okay. And then on this one, I'm going to cheat and use my Stamparatus because I have it set up. Oh. Let's get my Stamparatus out. There it is. Now, they do have positioning tools that they sell. If you weren't lucky enough to get a Stamparatus before they quit selling them, I was very sad when that happened, and I was very thankful that I decided I needed 2 of them, so I got an extra one because I use mine all the time. And just like you're seeing me do right now, I take and I have it set up. If I'm doing multiple cards, oh my gosh, it speeds things up immensely. Okay, so I stamped it, bringing it over here. I think it needs more ink. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Takes a few seconds to clean, but you know, it avoids problems later on. Okay. And that is done and out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead, close the ink pad, keep it from drying out and keep it from accidentally getting into things. I'm going to add a little glue to this. Okay. Now, I guess we can go ahead and put this inside as well. One less piece out there floating around. Now, you will always see me doing this because I am one of those people who don't have exact when I hit, and so I have to adjust. All right. Now, what we're doing here is we're going to take the triangles and we're layering them. And we're laying it out beforehand to help us figure out the placement that we want to use. And when we have it about how we think we want it, then we can kind of glue it in. Because you want to decide, you know, how deep am I going to go? I want that there or down here. How close in do I want these? I want them fairly close, but I want them kind of even too. So I'm thinking about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Okay. Now let's see. I did pop this up. All right. I'm just checking what I did. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering this. Now I wanted to point out something. We are gluing to an embossed surface. In this case, the raised parts are less than the down parts. So you need to be a little more generous with your glue to have good connection. And so what I'm doing, if you can see, is a lot of times I'll just outline, but because of the situation with the embossing, I'm doing a more thorough job of glue. And remember, I'm kind of layering it about 1/4 of an inch in and about 1/4 of an inch down. Okay. And then this one, we'll just layer it on top of that. Now, because that's got a flatter surface, I'm not as worried. Okay. And then do the same thing with the bottom. Oh, by the way, see this pretty cake paper? I just love that one on the back. I just think it's so subtle but so sweet. So this is a paper I might be using the B-side on, because honestly, the paper is so pretty. I was looking at it the other day. In fact, I'm going to show you the cards that I have in mind for the next class. The paper is so pretty. It just makes the card. It does its job. And that makes it easier to create cards quickly. Okay. Okay. Now we have the triangles in place. And then I can add a weight to that while okay, this is glued together. I'm going to add dimensionals to it now. When you have the foil backing, it makes it a little more sturdy, so it stands up a little bit better, and you don't have to put as much dimensionals on it. Okay, I'm going to stand up again. Check where I'm going. Okay, hooray! Cake! And we're done. Okay, awesome. Let's see. Okay, that was 13 minutes. How about that? Can we make cards quickly? All right. So those were the 4 cards for today. And I wanted to take a moment, if I can grab them, to show you the cards I had planned. I didn't have them out because I wanted to make sure we had enough time. Okay, this one's called a Pop and Wiggle. Again, I'm using that same paper that we've been having so much fun with. Look at this. Isn't that fun? The Pop and Wiggle card. Okay, that's one. I haven't typed up the instructions yet. So then this one, I've got two versions of. Again, using that lovely paper. This is a fun fold. It's your birthday. And then I'm using one of the papers in there for the decoration there. Let's eat cake and some more die cuts. Isn't that fun? And then here's a different version of it using different paper. Today is all about you. Same layering. Happy birthday. I think it's fun because the first slap kind of hides the surprise decoration underneath it, and then your message. Of course, you can go and do more decorating than I did, but that's just to give you an idea. And then this one, oh my gosh, guys, I want you to learn this one because it is so fun. Again, this is one that the same technique is used on both cards, but one's a square card. All right. This one, I'm using that same paper again. It's your birthday, and it's explosion card. See? Boom. Hooray. Okay. This is a square card. It's a thank you card. Same technique. So you have your decoration, you open it up, and you can write your message down here, but it's kind of like attention getting surprise explosion card. So I'm excited about that one, but I'm also excited because the technique you learn on this card is going to help you with this card. We have graduations coming up, and this is a graduation card. And what's happening is you're going to use the same technique you did on the previous card, but I'm going to show you how to make the tassel. And here we go. It's one big explosion card. Now, you may want to, I know Stampin' Up! Has a graduation stamp set. I believe it's online exclusive that you can use, or maybe you have some stamps that you can use ahead of time. What I am doing is I'm going to be using the blue and gold theme. However, if you know someone that's graduating and you know their school colors, when you make your own card, once you learn how and you make your own card, you can use those colors. Like if it's, well, green and gold was my high school. It was green and gold. But you can use those colors when you embellish the inside. Anyway, I learned a technique on how to make these tassels, and I want to share that with you. You'll get your tassel supplies and everything included in the set. But that would be for next time. You're May already. And then here's one I'm working on now. I haven't finalized it. I'm not positive yet. You let me know if you want. Okay, that's fine, Evelyn, with the cards. If you're talking about the third card, it looks good either way. Okay, but this one's called a fan card. It's a larger card, and I've been experimenting with it, but I just think it's a fun card. Unfortunately, it's a heavy card, and I believe it would take more postage because it is a bigger card and it is heavy. But I've got some other papers I want to try this with. In fact, last night I was kind of dreaming about, okay, how would it look with this color and that color? So that's in the works. But yes, when you do make mistakes, you can call them happy accidents, because what they do is they give you opportunities to correct them and discover new ways of doing things. So I'm so glad you were able to come. I hope you enjoyed the cards, and I look forward to working with you some more. If you have any feedback, let me know. And as I do this, I expect I'll keep improving. Like, for instance, I think the first time we only did 1 or 2 cards, and now we were able to do 4 in an hour and 20 minutes. How about that? Plus a few things. That's pretty cool. Okay, we're getting there. I'm working on it. Anyway, have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you much for coming. Thank you for your feedback. It's I love these cards. The paper makes it so fun and it's so easy, and you can, I just know the people who are going to eventually receive these cards are going to love them too. So thank you for coming. I appreciate your support, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Let's see there. No, let's see. End there.